Did you know that after The Simpsons became a hit, tons of studios tried to make their own version of the Yellow family? Some were blatant rip-offs, others tried to be different, but most of them just disappeared. Today we're diving into the world of copycats, rivals, and long-forgotten flops. You'll find out which shows tried to become the next Simpsons, why almost all of them failed, and which rare few actually managed to escape the curse of comparison. So grab your couch and a donut, because this behind-the-scenes trip through animation might just surprise you. The Simpsons formula. If there's one thing The Simpsons taught us, it's that being a normal family is totally overrated. Their formula seems simple: sharp humor, biting social commentary, and a completely dysfunctional family that deep down genuinely loves each other. A lazy, impulsive dad, an overworked mom, a rebellious son, a genius daughter, and a baby who silently watches it all. This chaotic mix turned into TV gold, and the most impressive part, even with totally absurd situations like Homer going to space or Mr. Burns trying to block out the sun, it all still felt relatable. Why? Because beneath the madness, there was truth. A critique of the system, jabs at politics, reflections of society. They laughed at the world and made the world laugh back. That's why so many tried to copy them, because The Simpsons wasn't just a cartoon, it was a wild mirror of real life. But here's the thing, the mirror The Simpsons held up had soul, and not everyone could recreate that.
Oh my God, Morty, what did you do? You killed the Simpsons, Morty!
No! I didn't mean to!
Oh,
No.
their beloved family, Morty!
Early copycats, the 90s wannabes. As soon as The Simpsons started taking over primetime, studios rushed to create their own adult animated shows. And that's when the 90s saw a wave of cartoons trying to ride the yellow wave, but ending up sinking hard. First came Family Dog in 1993. Picture this: Spielberg producing an animated series about a chaotic family told from the dog's point of view. The concept, solid. The visuals, stylish. But the writing, weak. The jokes fell flat. The result, canceled in no time. Then came Fish Police in 1992, a noir-style cartoon with talking fish in an underwater city, mixing mystery, crime, and adult humor. Yes, it was just as weird as it sounds. Only a few episodes aired before it got tossed back into the sea. And let's not forget Capital Critters. This one tried to mimic the political edge of The Simpsons, but with rats and bugs living beneath the White House. It had potential for satire, but nobody really got it. It lacked charm, timing, and made audiences feel more confused than entertained. These early attempts proved one thing: copying the formula is easy, but connecting with the audience? That's a whole different story. And unfortunately, these shows ended up as nothing more than footnotes in animation history. The biggest rival, Family Guy. If there was ever a show that came close to challenging The Simpsons for the adult animation crown, it was Family Guy. And let's be honest, at first it felt like a total ripoff. A suburban family, a dopey dad, a patient wife, kids with wildly different personalities, and instead of a silent baby, a talking dog. Sound familiar? Created by Seth MacFarlane, Family Guy premiered in 1999 with a style that blended pop culture references, random gags, and lightning-fast cutaways scenes.
Hey, how you doing? First day being pink?
Yeah?
Welcome to hell.
And it was exactly that chaos that hooked a younger generation. While The Simpsons leaned into subtlety and satire, Family Guy went loud, over the top, and often deliberately offensive. Naturally, that stirred up drama. A lot of drama. The Simpsons producers even accused Family Guy of plagiarism, and Family Guy clapped back, airing episodes mocking The Simpsons, who returned the favor in kind. It turned into an animated Cold War that lasted for years. But over time, Family Guy found its own lane. It crafted jokes that only made sense in its own absurd universe, built standout characters like Stewie and Brian, and proved it didn't need to live in anyone's shadow. Today, the rivalry may still exist, but in the end, they both helped keep the genre alive, like two bickering brothers fighting to be the funniest one in the house. South Park, copy or parody? Season 6, Episode 7. The Simpsons already did it. In 2002, South Park released an episode with a title that became legendary: The Simpsons already did it. In the story, Butters tries to come up with an evil plan, only to realize The Simpsons already did the exact same thing, and it keeps happening until he completely loses it. But beneath the laughs, the episode delivered a real and honest critique. The Simpsons had influenced pop culture so deeply that it felt impossible to come up with anything new without overlapping, and South Park knew that. When it debuted in 1997, many people thought it was just another attempt to ride the Simpsons wave. Dysfunctional family, quirky town, social satire. But South Park wasn't trying to copy. It wanted to kick the door down with crude animation, razor-sharp humor, and a lightning-fast production cycle that let it react to the news almost in real time. South Park carved out its own space. While Springfield sugar-coated its social commentary, the town of South Park threw it in your face. No filters, no fear, and a whole lot of profanity. They didn't copy The Simpsons, they mocked the fact that everyone else had already tried to copy them, and in doing so, they created one of the boldest series on television. In the end, South Park became a counterpoint. Where The Simpsons nudge, South Park punches. Where Springfield hints, South Park shouts. And that difference is exactly what helped both shows survive. Forgotten attempts of the 2000s. As the new millennium rolled in, studios kept trying to find the next Simpsons. But what we got was a string of shows that didn't even make it close to the finish line. Starting with The PJs from 1999, starring none other than Eddie Murphy. It had an interesting social angle, set in a housing project, and even won a few awards. But the humor was heavy, the pacing was odd, and audiences just couldn't connect. Then came Sit Down, Shut Up in 2009, an animated series about a group of dysfunctional public school teachers. The concept? Solid. The cast? Impressive. The comedic timing? A total mess. The jokes landed, then fell flat.
Oh, Coach, I found my gym outfit from the 6th grade and it still fits. Barely. Except for the shoes. So I'm wearing pumps I stole from Payless. I'm not proud of it.
Or I could just go with it.
And then there was Father of the Pride, a DreamWorks cartoon about talking lions behind the scenes of the Siegfried and Roy magic show. Yes, that was a real thing, and no, it didn't even last a full season. The problem with these shows, they all wanted to be edgy, bold, and adult, but they were missing one key ingredient: heart. Without charismatic characters, real emotional bonds, or any depth, audiences just didn't have a reason to come back. The result? Early cancellations, and quick trips to the forgotten corners of TV history. Recycled animated sitcoms. For years, the dysfunctional family formula became the go-to blueprint for adult animation. And of course, we can thank The Simpsons for that. But the real question is, why did everyone try to repeat that model? Because it seemed easy. All you needed was a dumb dad, a frustrated mom, a couple of troubled kids, and a generic suburban neighborhood. Throw in some edgy jokes, pop culture references, and voila, another yellow clone. But here's the thing, what worked for The Simpsons wasn't the formula itself, it was how they told their stories. That balance between absurdity and emotion, the satire hiding inside the humor, the affection behind the sarcasm. Many of these clones, clearly modeled after Springfield's visual and narrative style, ended up stumbling because they felt recycled, soulless, unoriginal, like they were built by some algorithm that only understood the shell, not the substance. The result? A flood of forgettable shows filled with families no one remembers, jokes that didn't even last a tweet, and zero cultural impact. In the end, it became obvious. Copying the format doesn't guarantee success. You have to understand why it works. The cases of relative success. Not every show that followed in The Simpsons' footsteps ended in failure. Some actually started off as just another clone, but managed to turn things around and carve out their own space. These are the exceptions, shows that proved even in the shadow of Springfield, you can still shine with your own light. Let's start with American Dad. When it premiered in 2005, a lot of people rolled their eyes. Created by Seth MacFarlane, the same guy behind Family Guy, it looked like more of the same. Crazy dad, weird family, alien in the attic, and a ton of jokes about American politics. But over time, something surprising happened. The show found its tone and its audience. While Family Guy thrived on chaos, American Dad began crafting more structured episodes, emotional arcs, and even moments of unexpected tenderness. Roger, the alien, became an icon of absurdity, and Stan Smith, the over-the-top patriot, turned into a walking satire of extreme conservatism. Today, the series has a loyal fan base and keeps going strong season after season.
Hi, I'm Becky.
I'm Steve. I have 5 friends on MySpace, and I'm waiting for approval from a 6th.
You're cute.
In a harmless little brother kind of way, right?
No, in an I've taken a lot of boys' virginity kind of way.
Then came Bob's Burgers. When it launched, most people thought, here comes another dysfunctional family with a clueless dad and weird kids. But Bob's did something different. Instead of banking on sarcasm or shock humor, it leaned into warmth. Its weirdness was treated with affection. The Belcher family is quirky, sure, but they're loving, tight-knit, and real in the sweetest way. The humor is gentle, the characters are lovable, and the vibe is almost therapeutic. No yelling, no cruelty, just people trying to live their best lives in a slightly offbeat world. These two shows proved one thing: you can be born in The Simpsons' shadow and still walk your own path. The secret? Don't try to be a copy. Instead, find your own voice, your own audience, and let heart matter more than formula. And what about The Simpsons today? Is it still worth copying them? After more than 36 seasons, The Simpsons are still on the air. Yep, decades after their debut, they're still releasing new episodes, cracking jokes about the real world, and trying to reinvent themselves. But is it still worth copying The Simpsons? The answer isn't that simple. Yes, they're still a cultural reference. They continue to shape pop culture, show up in memes, get quoted by politicians, artists, and fans. But the truth is, the world has changed a lot. New generations grew up with YouTube, TikTok, streaming platforms, and endless on-demand content. Comedy evolved, speed evolved, and the way we consume content totally transformed. Today, an animated series needs to do more than imitate a formula from 1989. It needs to speak to now. It has to understand themes like diversity, the internet, mental health, digital language, things that didn't even exist back when Homer was watching TV on a tube set. In other words, copying The Simpsons in 2025 is like trying to use an encyclopedia in the age of Google. Respectable? Sure. Functional? Not so much. At the end of the day, copying a successful formula is easy. Making it work again, that's a whole different story. The Simpsons wasn't just a cartoon. It was, and still is, a cultural milestone, a revolution in disguise, a yellow, twisted mirror of our society. Everyone who tried to imitate that success forgot one crucial detail. It's not enough to look like it, it needs a soul. It's not the format that makes the difference, it's the intent, the creative eye behind the satire, the love for the characters, the ability to turn everyday life into something memorable, hilarious, and as weird as it sounds, human. And now, the question goes to you. Which of these shows do you remember? Did any of them deserve more success? And do you think there's still room for a new Simpsons to rise in today's world? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. We've got more content like this every week. See you in the next episode. Until then, take care.